Howdy. My name is Dmitry Kucherov. I am a biomechanical undergraduate class of 2025. Hey, whoop. And today I am presenting a project on a biofuel. This is for Biology 111, Professor Wright. I hope you enjoy my presentation. Um, so I chose a rather common biofuel. It's bioethanol. Here it says bioethanol is a fourth generation biofuel, meaning it's created through enzymes and alcoholic fermentation, which I will get into later. It's created through a process called ABE fermentation, acetone butanol ethanol fermentation. And I'm currently taking an organic chemistry course, and all this is starting to make sense to me. So, uh, this biofuel is a hand-in-hand replacement for a high-pressure, high-octane fossil fuel, meaning it's efficient under high pressure, so it'll handle everyday engines. You can work on race cars even if created properly. Let's see here. Bioethanol was first manufactured in high volumes by the mid to the late 1970s in the United States and Brazil. I will go further into detail on its history. Bioethanol comes from a direct source of sugarcane and corn, but other substitutes may be used as well. These are feedstocks. Oh, and this is our skeletal structure of bioethanol, or ethanol at that. Bioethanol and ethanol, I have to explain this. Bioethanol is ethanol, but produced through organic matter. So in this case, plants, things like do photosynthesis, and this we'll get into this further as to why that's a good idea. This is its advanced skeletal structure showing its hydrogens. Bioethanol, I'll move my recording. Oh, okay. Bioethanol is sourced from feedstock and microalgae. This means these types of feedstocks include, but are not limited to, corn, soybeans, wheat straw, and wood chips. Basically anything organic that has photosynthesized. Production of these feedstocks is already established to a massive degree, therefore access to the base ingredients for bioethanol can be easily obtained. We all farm, we need corn, we need our wood, we need soybeans for everyday products. And so with these huge farms, we've already got almost unlimited access, theoretically, to our resources. The production of bioethanol. Bioethanol is produced through a process called ABE, acetone butanol ethanol fermentation, aka the Weizmann process. In the ABE process, alcoholic fermentation of sugars by bacteria is performed. This is similar to alcoholic fermentation for, say, beer or wine. Same deal. And the three products are acetone, butanol, and ethanol, and they are extracted appropriately. Well, similar to alcoholic fermentation and alcoholic drinks, the difference is what kind of bacteria are used. And in this ABE reaction, purely anaerobic bacteria are used to maximize how or what products come out of this reaction. So it's fermentation, so lack of oxygen. And these certain bacteria are thriving under fermentation. They are not aerobic. They don't need oxygen. And therefore, this is where you're going to get your maximization. In total, ABE fermentation produces 3 parts acetone, 6 parts butanol, and 1 part ethanol. Its developmental status. Bioethanol was first discovered in 1861 by Louis Pasteur when performing an ABE reaction. I believe that is the same individual who created pasteurization in milk, or understood and refined the process of pasteurization. While discovered in 1861, it only recently has become more interactive, and recently meaning early to late 1970s. Here it says large-scale production of bioethanol began in the late 1970s, or early to late 1970s in the United States and Brazil through the production of sugarcane and corn. Only within the last half century have we decided to use the ethanol produced from this ABE reaction for a fuel. So bioethanol is blended with gasoline in nearly all first world countries with access to gas stations. China, Brazil, the United States, most of the EU, all have a bio source of gasoline ethanol mix. We'll get to this later. Its impact on CO2 footprint. This is where I'm coming in. As bioethanol is produced from organic materials that perform photosynthesis, who end up with an O2 product, right? You create an oxygen by splitting that water molecule in the light reactions of photosynthesis. It also takes in that CO2 to then break the carbon and use it in glucose production through the Calvin cycle. And so you're taking in a CO2, giving out an O2, so good. So we're -1 on CO2. When the bioethanols burn through vehicles or a product, whatever it may be, when it's burned, a CO2 is produced. So we're back to a zero. We went from a -1 to a zero. We're back to zero CO2 from our start net. And as well as a water molecule, which is also used in the process of photosynthesis through these plants. So we're creating water and CO2. CO2 is what we don't want. But since we started by using a CO2 in photosynthesis, it is therefore carbon neutral. And as the Green Deal in the United States has been a big topic, and saving the climate and the ozone layer has been a huge topic in the last 2.5, 3 decades, carbon neutral is a great statement. So this might be an alternative solution. Its economic impact. Due to bioethanol's use in gasoline mixtures worldwide, the market production size for this industry is huge. While driving the price of gasoline up by a small percentage, bioethanol is seen as a permanent part of the future of fuel consumption. Like I said, if you go to the gas station, you will see an E number. This determines how much ethanol is within your ethanol gasoline mix. There's also some additives in there depending on what gas station you go to, but it is in every gas station. I wouldn't say every. I'm sure there's some out there with just pure gasoline mixes. I have never seen them, but in my current location and everywhere I've grown up, in the United States at least, there has been an ethanol mix within our fuel that we use for our vehicles. Outside of the fuel industry, bioethanol is used in paints, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, etc. Anything that uses ethanol can use a bioethanol with that carbon neutral. For any industry using ethanol, there will be also potential customers sell the carbon neutral variant too. So it's a good replacement. Its presentation to the public. I'm sure if you live in the United States and you have a vehicle, you own a vehicle and you pay for your gas and you pump your gas, you've most likely seen an advertisement like this one down below. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this advertisement down below, it shows it proposes, here, we have a biofuel available. It's healthy for your car. It works and it's a good idea. You should try it out. So that's your advertisement. With recent push in the last few decades to find a green alternative solution to fossil fuels, many developments have come along for biofuels. In bioethanol's case, the wide-scale usage in current markets suggests that the advertisement was huge. In the United States, again, I can't say for other countries, but in the United States, it's very common to see the use of bio or just green. You see the green recycle. You'll see it everywhere. My suggested next steps for bioethanol or this production of a biofuel is, as ethanol is already accepted and used in gas stations worldwide, I believe the only path to success is to continue development on bioethanol and produce a purely carbon neutral fuel. With that already in effect, bioethanol is set to be the future of petrol power until petrol is phased out by something much greater. Sorry for saying petrol, sound British, but I didn't want to say gasoline because not everything uses gasoline. Ethanol is not going anywhere until we quit using gasoline, fossil fuels for our vehicles, or until we completely switch to an ethanol mix. Ethanol's not going anywhere unless we somehow figure out how to do a nuclear. I don't know. We have a nuclear reactor in our vehicle. That'll be some future stuff. Another suggested next step is I also see car manufacturers designing and creating vehicles that are better designed to thrive on an ethanol source. as today vehicles are not equipped to deal with ethanol concentrated fuel. So only e-fuel flex cars can do high percentage ethanol. Gasoline, everything's been built around gasoline since that's what we've been using since the start, and we're only slowly starting to transition into these biofuels and these ethanol mixtures. My theoretical plan of action, given that there's no funding, or sorry, that there is no funding obstacle, infinite money, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, you know what I mean, Elon Musk. I don't have a problem with money. I just say continue what we were doing, and that is push the researchers to test and design at a rate never seen before. Just expand what we have and keep building on it as quick as we can. Get to that solution as quick as we can. So if we can go carbon neutral, that's what we're looking for. I said another thing would be to invest or create a company that will design ethanol-driven vehicles. This is continue what I said, in that we need to create a vehicle that will run on ethanol as efficiently as gasoline, or if to the degree. My third thing would be to advertise and equip refueling stations with ethanol products and promote carbon neutral environments. This would be a specific pump for a high ethanol concentration for a high ethanol vehicle. It's going to be a wild advertisement at first. It's going to be kind of evolutionary, new. It's going to be, whoa, okay, now we're running on ethanol instead of your gasoline, right? But that's what's going to need to happen if we're gonna go carbon neutral in this case. And I said, to make bioethanol the future, we just need to keep doing what we have been, but to a greater degree. And thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, possibly. Rather brief, but here are my sources. I didn't really MLA them, but here are my sources. If you need direct contact, just comment below and I'll try to get you a document with all this in there. Thank you.